My stepsister blackmailed me, threatening to ruin my life, but I recorded everything on camera. I never imagined that a single person could turn my life upside down, but my stepsister Emma managed to do exactly that. She moved in with us months ago, and since then, I've been living a nightmare. She thought she could manipulate everyone around her, but karma had other plans. Let me start by giving you some background. I'm 16 years old, and I'm my dad's only child. My parents divorced when I was young, and my dad raised me alone. He owns his own business, so he's often traveling, which means we don't see each other as much as I'd like, but we make it work. My mom passed away when I was 11. Losing her was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, and for the longest time, I didn't know how to navigate life without her. But my dad has always been there for me, even though I could tell that raising me alone was hard for him. Every month, he takes at least 1 week off to spend time with me, and those weeks are the highlights of my month. Things were great, or at least I thought they were until my dad remarried last year. He married Lisa, a woman who's 17 years younger than him. Lisa and my dad met online, and they dated for a year before getting married. From the moment I met her, I didn't like her. She struck me as a gold digger, someone who was after my dad's money and nothing more. But I didn't want to hurt my dad, so I kept my feelings to myself. Lisa has a daughter from a previous marriage, Emma, who's 17 years old. She's a year older than me, and when our parents got married, she transferred to my school. I didn't know much about Emma's biological father, but I knew that Lisa didn't want Emma to see him. As soon as Emma moved in, things got difficult. She's spoiled, entitled, rude, and completely selfish. She acts like the world revolves around her, and everyone else is beneath her. She looks down on me, mocks me constantly, and even steals from me my clothes, makeup, jewelry. She lies about it every time. And when no one is home, she sneaks her boyfriend into the house, warning me to keep quiet about it. What bothered me even more was how Lisa never intervened. Instead, Lisa was obsessed with making sure Emma had everything she wanted, to the point where it felt like she was trying to please her at any cost. When they moved in, Lisa naturally took over the master bedroom. My dad's room, which had been his sanctuary for years, was now cluttered with Lisa's things. She also convinced my dad to give Emma my room, even though I was still living there. My dad told me that Emma was getting ready to leave for college, so I could have my room back in a few years. I hated this, but my dad told me to be understanding. In the meantime, they moved into the guest room, which left me with the smallest room in the house, barely enough space for a bed and a desk. I had to put most of my things in the attic. My dad apologized for the situation, but he said that Emma was older and needed more space. I didn't argue because I didn't want to cause trouble for him, but deep down, I was frustrated. At first, I tried to make the best of it. I focused on my schoolwork, spent time with my friends, and played my guitar. I didn't need a huge room to be happy. I just wanted peace and to get through high school without too many disruptions. But things got much worse once Emma started attending my school. She began to torment me. At school, she spread rumors, called me names, and mocked me in front of everyone. She even sabotaged my schoolwork and stole from my locker. When I told my dad, he brushed it off, saying that I must have been mistaken. He kept telling me that Emma was adjusting and I should be more patient. The more Emma behaved like a spoiled brat, the more my dad tried to convince me that I should be understanding of her. But it was hard to ignore how she made my life miserable. Over the next few months, Emma's behavior only got worse. She had everything handed to her. My dad bought her an expensive car for her birthday, and I was expected to just accept it. I didn't care about material things, but it bothered me that my dad was spending so much time with Emma and Lisa. Last week, when my dad and Lisa decided to go on a weekend trip for their anniversary, Emma took the opportunity to do something outrageous. She handed me a rule book for the weekend. She told me that if I didn't follow the rules, she would make my life at school even more unbearable. I was shocked. The rules were ridiculous. I had to lie to my dad when he called, clean up after her party, and give her money for supplies. This was when I snapped. I told her I wasn't going to follow her absurd rules and that I would call my dad if she threw a party. She threatened me, saying she'd make things even worse for me if I told anyone. But this time, I wasn't scared. I knew I had to take control of the situation. So I played along. I pretended to be scared and agreed to do everything she wanted, all the while secretly planning to expose her. I kept the rulebook and started taking pictures and videos of everything that happened during her party. The house was trashed, people were drinking and acting wild, and Emma had a complete disregard for the rules. I woke up early the next morning to see the damage. The house was in chaos, with people passed out everywhere. I immediately called my dad and explained everything. At first, he didn't believe me, but when he arrived and saw the state of the house, he was furious. The rulebook was the final nail in the coffin. My dad didn't waste any time. He immediately revoked Emma's privileges. She was grounded, had her phone taken away, and had to give up my room and move into the smaller room. Emma tried to deny everything, but my dad wouldn't listen. He said that her behavior had been out of line and that he could no longer trust her. In the end, Emma lost her car, her privileges, and most of my dad's trust. She was furious and started screaming, calling me names and blaming me for ruining everything. But honestly, I didn't care. After months of torment, this was the payback I had been waiting for. That night, Emma stormed out, shouting that she couldn't wait to go back to her real dad's house. I looked at Lisa's face and knew she was scared of what Emma might do next. But as far as I was concerned, Emma had finally gotten what she deserved. By the end of it, I had learned the hard way that sometimes standing up for yourself and exposing the truth is the only way to put an end to toxic behavior. Emma thought she could control me and manipulate the situation, but I fought back with the one weapon I had: the truth. And it worked.